The Alpha and the Omega clone states, early wealth, early character progression, and more on this episode of EVE Business Insider. With the introduction of the Ascension expansion, players are now able to create free-to-play EVE Online accounts using what's called an Alpha clone state. Alpha clones will be able to experience much of EVE Online, but will also be heavily restricted in some aspects. For example, they won't be able to train skills outside of their own race, and the scope of your skill training is limited to frigates, destroyers, and cruisers. Some additional restrictions for Alpha clones include being unable to use cloaking devices on your ship, as well as being locked out from content which includes automated processes such as planetary interaction. But don't let that stop you, because a lot of what makes EVE Online great is the active forms of income, is the things that you can go out and do and experience and enjoy, and there are still plenty of those available to Alpha clones. As you see here, jumping into an introduction, within the first few seconds you're going to get some great insight into the combat and other aspects available in the game. The first ship that you absolutely should skill for as an Alpha clone is called a Venture, and is built by a company called Outer Ring Excavations, and it's meant as a mining and extraction platform that's going to allow you to propel yourself through the earlier career and early character development parts of the game into much more fun activities. Starting with mining, I'm able to procure between 1 and 3 million per hour, which is absolutely critical income for us to use to build future parts of our career progression on. Now, I wouldn't recommend you stick here for too long, because it can be a bit of a trap, and we definitely don't want to be sucked into this when there is so much more of this game to experience. Opting for a bit of a combat refit, I've gone out in search of some NPC belt rats to hunt, which is it's going to provide a much needed break from the monotony of mining, and as well, I think with a proper fit, there's no reason why a Venture can't pull off this kind of stuff, in addition to some level 1 and 2 missions. I'm going to go ahead and put a link in the description for the fits that are used in this video. I think, of course, for new players, it's important to have a resource such as fitting available at your disposal, because there are just too many module configurations possible in this game, and there's really no way for new players to sort them out. Now, once you've done a couple of missions, got your mind on, and perhaps shot some NPC belt rats, I think the next logical thing for you to do is to check out the hacking minigame. Shown here as part of a career mission, I'm doing a simple hack that illustrates to players the basic concepts to do with the hacking minigame, but in fact, there's a little bit more to it. There's enough here that I was able to make a full tutorial on hacking and scanning, and I'll make sure there's a link for that included at the end of the video, so stay tuned if you're interested in that. Now, before we skip too far ahead, I do want to mention that it's absolutely worth your time to go ahead and finish up these career missions. Not only are there a good amount of handouts that are available through the completion of the missions, but there are also some really important pieces of information for players to learn in here, such as the concept of core skills. Now, there are certain skills that affect every ship in the game, your ability to move through systems, your ability to kind of position yourself well, and these are called core skills. And through the process of these career missions, you're going to learn those as well. Now, the very next thing that you should probably do once you finish your core skills is look to get your T1 dedicated scanning vessel. Shown here is the Mimitar one. It's called a probe. There is one for every race, and these are absolutely your best bang for your buck in terms of what's available for new players to really make ISK in this game. Now, SS Probey McProbeface is off on its maiden voyage, and I am a master of my own domain. I have crossed the threshold from which a new player is forced to maintain sort of orbit inside of a solar system, and I've now just kind of gone out into New Eden in search of some glorious riches. Now, obviously, I'm going to leverage my experiences in the game, my knowledge in the game for this, but of course, if you follow my tutorial, you can too. You know, very quickly I'm jumping into a wormhole, and I'm going from making 1 to 3 million an hour in a Venture to making 20, 30, 40 million per site. Now, initially, some of these hacks are going to be difficult, it's going to be challenging, you won't be able to beat everyone, but persistence pays off, and this is a chance-based thing, so the more sites you're able to get under your belt, the better. Now, there is a bit of a grind to this part in the game, especially for a new player. There's really no further point that you can advance past this in order to increase your income. Even if you do everything correctly, even if you find maximum wormholes, you're still just going to have to grind through a little bit of content in order to get yourself enough ISK, hopefully, to plex into an Omega. Now, I wouldn't suggest necessarily plexing into an Omega unless you're ready for it, and as well, I think technically paying for the subscription is a little bit better, you get more benefits from it, but as soon as you're able to do that, you're going to unlock ships like this, which is going to absolutely increase your potential for ISK making, and as well, it's going to keep you way safer out there. The Astero, capable of advanced cloaking technology, is absolutely going to revolutionize your experience of data and relic hunting. Now, Astero being a faction ship is going to require 2 races of training, and therefore will be locked out for players of the Alpha Clone status. And of course, that makes really the Omega clone your first big goal. Now let's take a minute to just recap. The very first thing you're going to do is check out the link in the description for a trial account, which is going to unlock 250,000 SP for you to use on your very first ship, which is a Venture. After that, you're going to skill into a T1 scanning ship, which is an important part of your character progression. As soon as that step is complete, you're going to go off into the universe and do something that you enjoy, perhaps do some PvP, perhaps explore some of the other business aspects that you're interested in, using the funding that you've got from your T1 scanning. Now, as soon as you feel comfortable enough to do so, you're going to go ahead and pick up a subscription, you're going to upgrade from an Alpha account into the Omega account, and you're going to unlock some pretty serious benefits that include a double training time multiplier, a huge amount more skills that you're able to train, as well as the possibility to inject right past all of that early boring part that we talked about and get right into the Astero. Now, I'm going to go ahead and recommend about 3 to 4 injectors to get your Astero completely kit and caboodle. This includes scanning skills, tanking skills, and other things that are around the periphery. The best way for you to get those injectors is to buy Plex directly from CCP, and then what you're going to do is sell them on market and simply buy the injectors that you need. At this rate, you're going to go ahead and buy probably about 2 Plexes. That's going to get your initial 4 injectors, but as well, if you would like to, you can plan ahead for other career aspects such as planetary interaction, basic research or trade skills, which are really going to help to elevate your mid-game. Now, at this point, you have enough information to go out into the universe and make sure that you are self-sufficient. You can fund your own excursions into low-sec for PvP or whatever else it is that interests you. However, it is worth mentioning that at this point in most players' careers, you're going to look towards a player corporation, which is basically really going to have a lot of synergy with other aspects of your career, such as planetary interaction. You absolutely can do PI in high sec, and if you're interested, I would encourage you to check out some of my other videos. I'll make sure to put a link in the end roll to my planetary interaction tutorial, but basically it's up to you. You can go this path if you would like to, more business aspect in high sec. However, I would highly encourage you just to play the game and to go experience some other players as well, and just see what kind of opportunities are out there for you. And there are some pretty good corporations that are specialized in teaching new players the game that include documentation, training materials, and free ships. A good example of one is Pandemic Horde. I know these dudes because I live near them, and just here's some footage from a random fight that we were in that they happen to also be at. They're a really great group. They're going to get brand new players out. They're going to get you some flight time and experience on the battlefield and show you some parts of the game that is usually reserved for players that have been playing the game for years. But through one of these organizations, if you're interested, you can absolutely still, everything in this video still applies. You can synergize perfectly well with your planetary interaction. Your Astero skills are not put to waste. I mean, all that stuff is still absolutely valid, and I think this is an entirely viable option for players that are looking to really streamline the process of getting to the fun parts of the game. Overall, there's never been a better time to try EVE Online. When I was just a youngster, first jumping into this game, I mean, I think I took months to get into a cruiser, and mind you, there only was frigate, cruiser, and destroyer, and that was all that the universe entailed. And so this alpha clone stuff, it's nothing to get bent out of shape about. It's a great way to try the game. You know, the vast majority of activities in the game are available to alpha clones, even though it sounds a bit restrictive. I would say just hop in. I mean, the thing about groups like Pandemic Horde is that you're really bypassing a lot of that monotony of the early game, and you're able to get out there and just experience, you know, the universe for what it is. And combat is absolutely one of those most enjoyable parts of the game, at least for a lot of players. So I would highly encourage you to check those out. Make sure you do grab the link in the description for the trial account and get that 250,000 SP on lockdown. No reason not to grab that and really start you off in the right direction. Alright, my dudes, that's it for this episode. It has been a blast. I have plenty more on the way. I have an agenda that's packed full of new episodes, so make sure you smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, comment if you're interested, and stick around with me for the next installments of EVE Business Insider.